What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk live from St. Vincent College here in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, as we kick off 2025 Steelers training camp. Your boys were in the house, boots on the ground, and right from the start, my friends, from the first pass attempt of the day, there were stories worth talking about. We're diving into everything, some injuries, some news, some interceptions, how freaking good the Pittsburgh Steelers did and did not look throughout the day. So much to dive into. I'm excited. It's been a good one. We collectively have lost 11 pounds today, which is great. Always good to stand around and lose weight. That's my favorite thing to do. We're feeling good. I'm feeling juiced up. How are you feeling, my friend?
Tired. I have sweat in a lot of places I don't want to say, but it's good. I'm up here. Steelers training camp, man. I mean, this is what gets better than this. There's nothing better. So, I mean, to be up here to see the teams finally here, we're finally close to the regular season, at least closer than we were. Oh boy, I'm excited. I might be suffering from heat exhaustion, but I'm good.
Yeah, I agree. Every training camp practice, we get to the point where you kind of get to the end, and you're starting to stand there, and you're going, all right, I might pass out, but it's okay. Just don't pass out. Just don't be the guy that passes out at Steelers training camp practice. Not on the sideline, you can't be that guy, but it's all right. It feels great to have those nerves. You know what I mean? They hit you, they feel great. We're finishing up. We'll have a nice dinner, and then we will hit the road. And let me tell you, you know what I mean? Growing up, Pop's always said, hard day's work. There's nothing harder than Pittsburgh Steelers training camp, especially on day one. Let's dive into it. Let's start with the injuries of the day. I kind of wanted to toss this one to you. Felt like it might be a little bit of a shot, a low blow to toss it to you. So I won't as we go through these. Jonnu Smith showed up in a jersey, didn't finish practice in a jersey. Mike Tomlin said day to day. I would imagine it's just a conditioning thing. Jonnu's got to, work his way back into the offense and so on and so forth. Then the other one is Cordero Patterson, who was not on the field at all. Didn't see him anywhere. Mike Tomlin also said he's day to day. We'll see what happens there. I mean, do you think, Jonnu, you worried? And when it comes to Cordero, do you think this is a signal to the beginning of the end much earlier than we thought?
I'll start with Jonnu. Not worried about it so far. I see this mostly as, he's just he's getting up to speed, he's learning the playbook, things like that. So I'm hoping that it's just a minor thing. He's catching up and he will be good to go soon. For my best buddy, CP84, I'm not going to be all doom and gloom right off the bat. I think maybe he just has some sort of, minor injury that they're being very cautious about, and I expect to see him at some point in training camp. Otherwise, it's not like it won't feel as good if he just, he can't be on the team because he's hurt. I haven't talked all this crap just for an injury to ruin it, So I think we're going to see him. I think he'll be back soon. I hope he's back, tomorrow, next week, early, whatever it is, just so we can see what he's got. And either I'll be proven so wrong and get my ass kicked like everyone hopes, or I'll be dead on the money.
Yeah, it is at this point a strangely long running joke that I think does draw some concerns about whether or not it will happen. But you know what I mean? We're having a good time here at Steelers training camp. I'm not super worried about Jonnu Smith. The fact that he showed up in a jersey, didn't finish practice in a jersey, definitely brings some nerves, but it's day one. You got plenty of time. This isn't a rust situation. Didn't look like a rust situation where, it's like, okay, this is going to be bigger than we expect it to be, and that's not a great thing. And then at the other side of it with Cordero, I don't know. I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know how I look at Cordero and say you are a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers to begin with, let alone a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers that after not starting training camp, you are still going to be. It just feels like at some point somebody in Pittsburgh's got to realize, like, yeah, we should probably get rid of him. Like, we should probably just move on and go to other options. Feels like we got to be getting dangerously close to where those are. We'll see what happens. Injuries are something to monitor. It's day one. And we'll go from there. Let's talk about the day and everything that happened. pass one, attempt one, play one of Pittsburgh Steelers training camp in 2025. What happens? Aaron Rodgers throws an interception right to Patrick Queen on the sideline. It was a moment that I think all of us went, no way, dude. There's no way he just did that. He did not. And then he did. And from there on, I mean, we'll dive into it. I want to know your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, but I'm going to say I was very, very, very impressed with one side of the Steelers football. I was not super impressed with the quarterback play of the Pittsburgh Steelers today. Not that I'm worried about it, but just giving you guys the reactions as they come. When it came to Aaron Rodgers today, wasn't his best day. Interception on day one. Will play this tape before I ask you your thoughts and we dive into everything, because Aaron did have the greatest line ever in response to this, but it was an immediate interception, first play, and it did not get much better.
Kind of omen your first throw in team periods picked off by Patrick Queen. What is that? What goes through your mind on
It's
that
good
play?
to get that out the way. It's good to get it out the way. I mean, anybody that's watched me practice over the years, you like to try certain throws at certain times. And, anybody that's watched me in the games knows, and I've been pretty stellar taking care of the football over the years. So there's going to be picks for sure. I'm going to try to fit certain things in. You gotta deal with some sweat on the ball from time to time. So it's going to be a good challenge for me throwing this heat every single day. I look forward to it. But I'm going to throw some picks. I'm going to throw some touchdowns too.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers, man, like he's one of the smartest humans I've encountered. Like right off the bat, you're kind of picking that up with him. His ability to come up with just like mic drop moments is pretty intense and crazy, and I applaud him for it. But in times like this, when you're going, damn, dude, that was rough, you're also going, that was one. I mean, if anybody's gonna make me feel better about this situation, it's Aaron Rodgers with the line he just dropped there. Makes you feel good. The interception is there. You could share your thoughts on that, but just the Rodgers day as a whole, what were your thoughts on Aaron today?
I was really less focused on evaluating how every single drill and play went with Aaron Rodgers today. I was just excited to see him in the mix. I was excited to see him, with the first string, running against the first string defense, just throwing the ball a little bit. To take you through that interception, it looked like he just totally missed Patrick Queen there. The defense was getting a nice solid rush there. I don't think he saw him underneath. And the pass attempt was made, and Patrick Queen made an incredible play to come up with the interception there. So yeah, I mean, it was just a tough play. It wasn't something that looked like Aaron Rodgers is now no longer a starting quarterback. He made some sort of errant throw that was so unforgivable that we are all now worried about him. It was just, quick play, quick read, good play by a defender. And I think that's going to be really the theme of Steelers training camp is really good players matching up against good players. And we're going to see, someone's got to look bad in that situation. So for the first play of offense versus defense, it was Aaron Rodgers, but I don't expect that's going to maintain. I really liked his response. He is going to throw picks, but he's going to throw touchdowns too. So, you got to take the good with the bad here. So wasn't too worried. Thought it was a pretty normal day for him overall, more positive than bad, despite the interception on the first play there of 11 on 11.
Yeah, I look at Aaron throwing an interception on day one does not make me worried at all. Aaron throwing a couple of passes that got batted down by the defensive line doesn't make me worried, but also makes me like, okay, like what are we doing here? Those ones shouldn't happen. But on the other side of this, okay, I mean, I don't know if you feel differently, but in my eyes, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense looked so much better than I expected them to look. It was crazy how dominant these guys were. The secondary, and I want to dive into each part here, but dude, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr., I don't think you need another safety because, to be honest with you, Deshaun Elliott and Juan Thornhill looked just fine out there, and it was crazy how good they all looked. Elite. There are no pads on. I won't say that they're elite. I won't. It won't come out of my mouth. But they looked pretty unreal. No matter how good they looked on paper, they looked so much better in person. And I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting Jalen Ramsey to start and look as good as he looked right from the jump. Joey Porter Jr. looks fast and way better playing man coverage than he does playing zone. Darius Slay is a natural fit. Deshaun Elliott's all over the place, as he should be. And Juan Thornhill looked just fine covering the middle of the field. You want to know why? Because everybody else was like, well, don't worry about it, because you don't have to do anything but help us out, because we got our guys at all times. I mean, the Steelers defense looked so crazy today, for all three levels, and even some of the backups. Like, you look, Dante Kent had a couple of really nice plays today. Corey Trice looked impressive at times today. Sebastian Castro made some plays today. All of the linebackers made plays today. Like, I don't know. I'm not jumping the gun. It's day one, but the biggest takeaway by far is not the Steelers threw an interception on the first play of the game, or the first play of the day. It's this defense looks so much scarier than we thought it was going to look. Like, Derek Harmon batted a pass down on Aaron Rodgers. Cam Hayward batted a pass down on Aaron Rodgers. Nick Herbig ghost rushed whoever it was today and got through to the defense so fast that when Caleb Johnson did the fake handoff, he looked up and Nick was already behind him. He was already on the other side of Caleb Johnson. That's how good they all looked. It was even Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer looked very natural in this defense. Again, day one, but man, dude, they look good. They look very, very good.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I am instantly blown away by just the drastic and overnight impact that is Jalen Ramsey's presence here in the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. It is, just going through the offense versus defense in the camp sessions today, you saw Jalen Ramsey lining up on the outside. We saw him in the slot corner trailing, mirroring like Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson coming through the slot. We saw him lining up in the free safety position for a couple of plays too. I mean, the versatility, the productive playmaking, the turnover factors that the Steelers are hoping to get out of Jalen Ramsey were on display from the very jump. And just to have that sort of turnover ball hawk sort of player, you can tell that it is already having such a positive impact on the rest of the Steelers defense, because now they can all kind of fill into where these different parts of the defense where they fit best. You don't have to have a Joey Porter Jr. creating 4, 5, 6 interceptions per season. You can just have him playing solid, sticky defense, because you have Jalen Ramsey creating turnovers. You have Deshaun Elliott booming everybody in sight. You have Juan Thornhill looking like a center fielder, and you have Darius Slay, who looked excellent today. Again, no pads. You don't want to jump the gun or anything too, but to see these 3 starting cornerbacks for the Steelers coming in and being arguably the 3 most impressive of the day, what a positive sign to start training camp.
Yeah, it was so crazy how, I mean, and it wasn't just us. It wasn't like Noah and Jacob are overreacting. Here we go, these guys. No, it was anybody you talked to. You were like, wow, I can't believe how good the secondary looks. This looks so much better than we thought it was. I mean, I think the offense is going to be better. I'm excited about what's to come, but it cannot be overlooked about how crazy this group looked on day one, and honestly, top to bottom, how good they look, because there was nobody. I mean, Brandon Echols was the name that throughout practice, me and you were standing there going, all right, he got beat a couple of times. And then I think he finished making a couple of plays. And I was like, okay, Brandon Echols just made up for it all. If that's pads, Brandon Echols doesn't get beat there. Brandon Echols puts Calvin Austin 6 inches into the dirt. That's what he goes. That's what happens here. I just think overall looked so good on defense. I want to ask you your biggest winner of the day. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers today. I mean, Patrick Queen comes up with a pick. Derek Harmon has a day. Cam Hayward looks good. I mean, everybody looks good on the defensive side of the ball. Is crazy. But your biggest winner of day one?
Easily is Jalen Ramsey, and maybe that's the most obvious pick, but I mean,
great pick.
Him being there again. I'll just take any opportunity I can to talk about the impact that Jalen Ramsey just has on this defense. He's a superstar, and it is a superstar in a way that, besides TJ Watt, the Steelers don't have. I mean, they have incredibly elite players. They have, what I think can be a top 5 defense, but that superstardom that Jalen Ramsey brings, that swagger that he brings on every single rep, whether it's, opening day of training camp or week 17 of the regular season, that guy is just bringing that it factor every single day. And it was on display immediately. So he was my big winner. My other big winner is from the offensive side of the ball. And I don't know if you wanted to get into more offense or anything, but Caleb Johnson, I thought, was far and away like the most explosive running back out there. And all the running backs had moments, Jalen included, and all of the depth players as well. But
Yes,
there's
sir.
a couple of plays when they were doing offense versus defense where as soon as Caleb Johnson hit that hole and just sort of took off, the acceleration and the explosiveness were just, you couldn't miss it. And it looked like he was a really special player.
Caleb Johnson did have some great moments. I think he was Jalen Warren looked good, but he was in limited reps today. I think Caleb Johnson was the best running back on the field today in no pads, which is very important to highlight here. He had an incredible run. Evan Hall also had a great run today, which I thought stood out quite a bit. My biggest winner on defense is Jalen Ramsey. I mean, there's no questions asked. Is Jalen Ramsey. That dude was like, it's crazy what he immediately brought to the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Like, it wasn't like everybody's just playing defense and everybody's got a role. It was like, no, Jalen Ramsey might be like the whole defense. Like, this is so nuts how good he looked. I'll give you another one though. I mean, like, I'll move away from the secondary because I think Joey Porter was also like equally as beneficial. He looked good today. Joey Porter looked really fast and I think it's the switch to more man football. Like, I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and their corners and say, you got three guys that can man anybody in the league. There's no trio of wide receivers the Pittsburgh Steelers can't put their three corners out against and say, this is going to work. And Joey plays so much better in man than he does in zone. And I think you're going to benefit from that. But my biggest winner of the day is Juan Thornhill. Like, it's outside of those guys, to just pick somebody new and somebody that deserves some credit today, it's Juan Thornhill. That guy looked good. He looked natural. He looks like totally fine as the free safety of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I still think you need somebody else. I still think you go out and get somebody, but I have no pullback or holdback or worries that Juan Thornhill can't start at safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers and they'll be just fine. Like, they'll be okay moving forward. I thought Juan Thornhill looked fast. I thought he looked, I was a little nervous, to be honest with you. When you pull out a Steelers tattoo before you ever play it down for the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's some nerves there about.
He is a Steelers tattoo?
Yeah. He showed us the Steelers tattoo on arrival day that he got a Steelers tattoo. And it's just the Steelers logo. And I'm like, all right, I like it, but I don't know, pal. Like, that seems like a bad omen to me. It does seem like a bad omen to me. I still thought he looked so good, and I was expecting the worst, but I still thought he looked good. On the offensive side of the ball, I think I'm gonna go Darnell Washington. I think Darnell looked real good. He made a couple of plays. He had one big catch. I think it was the biggest play of the game. Or of the day on offense, right down the middle. He looked faster, was working with the ones because Jonnu wasn't there. Loved the offense. You know what I mean? The offense coming out with Roman, Calvin, DK, and then Darnell and Pat Freiermuth, and that was their starting offense. I just looked at it and said, that Darnell is going to be Jonnu, and that looks pretty okay to me. Like, you look like you've got a pretty good group of guys out there catching footballs. I thought Roman looked good too, but Darnell to me looked, he just impressed, for a guy that is probably fighting for a lot of reps. I expect him to get a lot of reps, but is fighting for more of them right now. I thought he certainly stood out with the ones and the twos most of the day.
Yeah, that play, that catch that he made, I believe it was Mason Rudolph throwing him the ball on that one, but it was an excellent catch. He went up, he got it at the highest catch point. He slipped behind the defense. It was a beautifully run route, beautiful catch, beautiful throw from Mason too. And yeah, he looks like just a constantly improving player. It is very rare to see such tangible steps of progress over a couple of years for a player like Darnell Washington, a tight end who comes in here basically expected to be a blocking tight end who just has great size, and they have slowly found a way to really incorporate him into this offense. And I'm eager to see if that continues. With the arrival of Jonnu Smith, I anticipate it will take sort of a step back, but he's shown that he can, run routes really well. He can beat defenders. He can make the hard catches. He can also block. So lots to love about Darnell Washington. And I hope that we get to see more and more reps out of him as camp goes on and he keeps earning more playing time.
I agree. Let's go to the other side here. Your biggest loser day one, and it's day one. Like, who cares? But your biggest loser day one, guy that you're looking to step up in day two. Let's put it that way. The guy that you're looking to step up in day two. There are no losers on day one, but the guy that you think tomorrow could have a better day.
I think Brandon Eccles is the easy one to pick on, and I want to stay away. I want to go to the offensive side of the ball here in a second as well, so I don't pick on the defense too much here. But yeah, Brandon Eccles. I mean, I think there are a lot of expectations for him, and I think that there is a hope that he can play a larger role than maybe we think coming into this season. So I was expecting him to perform closer to the level that our top three cornerbacks were performing at day one, and he just wasn't there. He showed some progress at the end. He certainly got better towards the end of the session, but there were just a couple of really not great plays where he was beaten by wide receivers, and again, just need someone to step up. It's not declaring him a loser. I like Brandon Eccles a lot. I think he could be truly a strong impact player in a secondary role for the Steelers. But yeah, looking for him to just kind of get his footing a little bit better. Offensive side of the ball, if you don't mind. Again, not a loser, but I will continue to call on Broderick Jones until there is no more questions, till there is no more doubt, and it's all been erased, and he is truly the starter with no question mark behind it. He didn't look bad at all. The offensive line looked fine there. Spencer Anderson steps in for Isaac Siamalu while he's injured. Zach Frazier looks like a dog and an anchor. But I think Broderick Jones has so much to prove still, and I think every day is important for him. So, just looking for a little bit more on day two than I saw today.
Yeah, Broderick to me is a good one because you are looking every day. It's hard to judge the offensive line, although my offensive line or my offensive loser will also be an offensive lineman when I get there. But I agree with you on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, Brandon Eccles to me was I agree with you. Like, he started slow. He needed to pick up. He did pick up. I think he had a couple of plays, and I again, like, I also think that you looked at it and you had to just take it into context because Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter, and Darius Slay were so all over the football that nothing could get through. It just looked so impressive that when Eccles stepped on the field, you were like, okay, well, you let him catch that one. What are you doing? But if there are pads there, that guy's getting clocked, like, that's a pass that Brandon Eccles is putting him in the dirt, and maybe he holds onto the ball, maybe he doesn't, but it's a good play for the defense. And I think he stepped up a couple of times, especially there at the end. My loser on defense, man, that's a tough one. I don't think Miles Kilbrew had the greatest day for a guy who could be fighting for a third spot. But to be honest with you, my guy who I thought had a good day on defense, but dropped a couple of punt returns that I think, he needs to kind of get his groove going there, is Dante Kent. Didn't have the best special teams day, and I think that's going to play a big role in him coming and making this team. But at the same time, he looked good at corner, had a couple of pass breakups, 2 to be exact, I believe, and I thought looked pretty impressive on defense. Didn't see much of Beanie, but I would imagine Beanie was all over the place. On the offensive side of the ball is the big one for me. Calvin Anderson looked atrocious, man. Like, it was so bad how bad he looked. And I get it. There are no pads. You can't judge offensive linemen the way you could judge everybody else. But that ghost rush by Nick Herbig, that I'm in the backfield before anybody looks. You want to know who he got around? Calvin Anderson. And it wasn't even remotely close to a block. It was crazy. The Steelers just have such a glaring need. Like, that's and maybe you disagree here, but that's, to me, like, you walk away from day one and you're just going, if the Steelers offense and defense stayed exactly the same, I think they'd still be a good team, but you need a swing tackle. Like, that is, you can't walk away without a swing tackle.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been sounding the alarm all summer long about this. It's a position of need for the Steelers, and we've seen literally day one, end of camp, there is one starter not participating, and you can tell that there is that this unit is so much weaker without that one missing piece. And you can say that about really any of the 5 starters set to occupy those spots this season. And that is, for a team that does truly fancy themselves a Super Bowl contender and thinks that they can do something really impressive this year. They've added depth throughout the lineup, but there's one key area where they are, again, we've said this before, one injury away from being a very average to mediocre offensive line. And, it just takes one injury, and we already see it happening. So, man, I think really after one day, if I want to be incredibly overreactionary, it seems like the biggest positional need for the Steelers right now is an extra offensive lineman that could maybe play in multiple positions, not secondary, not wide receiver 2, offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, without question, I think, and that's a good point. We'll kind of close out our run through so that we can start diving into all your guys' questions. But Roman, Calvin, the big names that I think we all had eyes on coming in here that everybody had questions about. What were your thoughts on those guys today?
I didn't get much of an impression from Roman Wilson, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a criticism of him. I just didn't really. He didn't catch my eye a whole bunch. I saw him running with the ones a good bit. I saw Calvin Austin moving in the slot and going in motion a ton, and I loved seeing that. I think there is already an awareness of how they can probably best use Calvin Austin with his speed, and I think getting him in motion is going to be a huge asset for him and for Aaron Rodgers in diagnosing the defense. So I thought I liked what I saw. I just didn't really see enough to form a great opinion. Roman Wilson remains someone for me to monitor and someone that I am, I have high expectations of over the next couple of weeks to see. But yeah, the thing that continues to stick out to me is that the rest of the team seems to have this confidence in Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. And while we keep talking about, what's going to happen to wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, it feels like the Steelers already know, and they are confident with what they have.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised that Roman, and for those of you who weren't here, just to give you a layout, Roman was on the outside, Calvin in the slot, DK on the outside, and I was kind of surprised that Roman was just like immediately thrown in there over Robert Woods. To me, that was a bit of a surprising move by Mike Tomlin there, but I respect it. I like it. See what you got. Don't waste your time. Go out there and make moves and test this group, and if they look good, fine. I thought Roman looked fast. He caught a couple of balls that at times I went, oh, okay, that wasn't bad. It was pretty all right. So it wasn't the biggest standout of the day. No, but I also think Rodgers didn't have the greatest day, and because of that, you can't do anything without a quarterback, and you gotta make room for your wide receivers through your quarterback. But I agree. I don't think he made a huge impression, but he looked better than he did a year ago. I'll tell you that. As somebody who was here, Roman definitely looked better than he did a year ago. And on the same side, Calvin, there weren't those big moments, but I'm having like DK didn't do anything. You know what I mean? DK did not. He might have caught a pass today. That's what DK might have done. And it was like a comeback route, like right in the middle, just like find the open gap, sit your butt down and catch the football. I mean, it wasn't an offense that succeeded because of how good the defense was, not because of how bad the offense was, because of how good the defense was. And I'm excited to see what we get, but I do know people are looking forward to it and are looking forward to those names and updating kind of what we saw, even if it wasn't an impression, is important because the Steelers are going to make a decision off this, and we're going to see what happens. All right. With that said, guys, I want to start answering all your questions because you got better questions than we have nonsense to talk about. But first, I want to give a shout out to our boys over at Factor. Summer is here. More sun, more light, more time to do all the things that make summer so special. And the number one thing you don't want to be doing all summer, spending hours cooking inside. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking all the hassle out of eating well. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick from gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals. Choose from options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day sun up to sundown with nutritious breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. Factor has your whole day covered. Enjoy more this summer. Get Factor if you want all the flavor and none of the fuss. Jim Wexel, shout out. Our boy has been calling me fat all day long. And because of that, I got to call Factor and get myself some meals for the dinner time because those late night snacks, man, they're killing me, and Wex is letting me know. Get started at factormeals.com/allsteelerstalk50off and use code allsteelerstalk50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code allsteelerstalk50off at factormeals.com/allsteelerstalk50off for 50% off plus free shipping. That's factormeals.com/allsteelerstalk50off patreon.com/allsteelerstalk, 50 off. All right. With that said, guys, let's start diving into questions. Shout out to our super chatters. Shout out to our members. Can't thank you guys enough for the support that you give us, especially when we're out here sweating. Feels good to come back and talk to you guys. We're going to kick it off with Chris. Overreaction. Early O-line injuries forced Darnell Washington to fill in and will blossom as an offensive lineman. Washington could be a perfect swing tackle. Bold is definitely the move. The word overreaction could also fit pretty perfectly here. I don't see it happening. I do think Darnell Washington is a stud blocker and could work as a left tackle. I don't think he ever would, though. I don't think he'd ever play it.
No, but I think maybe the the happy medium to Chris's suggestion here is the Steelers are going to run some heavy personnel. They already were showing off, what a 3 tight end set would look like. And so, you get Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, and Darnell Washington involved. That's a very heavy set. You can run the ball with them. And as we just talked about, we have some playmaking, pass catching abilities here between that trio. So I think if you can keep him on the field and keep utilizing that that blocking ability, great. I don't think it has to be at a tackle, but I think they do need to keep finding ways to incorporate Darnell Washington and his blocking ability into the offense.
I agree. And I think they're going to. It was kind of nuts. Like, did you expect how immediate they were just like, yep, our offense looks brand new. This is what's going to happen. So many tight ends on the field at all times. I think that one kind of stunned me a little bit.
Truly. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that there is we said this in multiple places this summer with the Steelers, but it seems like they are really, as much as the Steelers can, going into the season with a totally fresh and new approach. And, with offensive personnel usage, the way Omar Khan has attacked the roster upgrades, the way that they have gone about negotiating with TJ Watt, the way that they are they are going the way that Arthur Smith wants the offense to go. This seems like there's a lot of input coming from the coordinators as well. This feels like a very different approach to a Pittsburgh Steelers season. And I got to say, I like it.
I agree. I apologize. I keep muting myself as I go through here, but I agree with you. I do enjoy it. I think that's the move. I also, again, like, it goes back to Roman and everything else. Like, stop. Don't waste time, guys. Like, just figure it out and make it good and then go from there. And I think that's the move. Will Wright, what's up with Bruner? Will he be making the team? Yeah, Carson Bruner. I have Carson Bruner in my 53-man roster that I put out the other day. Actually, I put it out this morning. On here, I did it the other day. I think he makes it over Mark Robb. I like Mark Robinson, but he's on the last year of his rookie contract. I think Carson Bruner is a great special teamer. He's not going to play any defense, but he'll play special teams, and the Steelers are looking for that. I thought he looked fine today. He looks bigger than I thought he was going to look. You look up pictures of him at Washington, tiny dude, man, does not look very big. He looks much bigger now. It's crazy how much he looks like his dad. The Steelers love family ties. They understand that he's a smart dude with a lot of special teams capabilities, and they're going to make the most of it. So, yeah, I expect Carson Bruner to make the team.
Yeah, I do as well. I think there is one key holdup in the Mark Robinson thing, and I think it's that Danny Smith likes Mark Robinson as a protector on punt formations, and I saw him in that first group while Cam Johnston and Corliss Waitman were going through their punting drills, and that's the only thing that kind of gives me pause. If there is a very specific niche special teams role that Mark Robb fills, maybe a little bit better, more experienced than the rookie Carson Bruner does, that's where I could see him not making the team. But I do believe, despite that he will be the final inside linebacker on the roster.
Yeah, I agree. Chris here, Steelers' biggest weakness last year was nose tackle. I can't say enough how happy we are drafting Harmon and Black to bolster the run defense. Khan is a genius. Yeah, I mean, first off, this is probably the first time that, like, you really got to see Y.E. Black in a setting where you could have eyes on every player that's out there, and that dude is ridiculously big. He's massive. And that's exactly what anybody who's sitting around, like anybody in Pittsburgh, because Tomlin tried to say it, everybody tries to, he's going to be a 3-tech. No, he's not. He's going to be a nose tackle. He's going to line up in the middle of the defense, and he's not going to let anybody run by him because he's the biggest SOB on the field. That's who YE Black looks like. And Derek Harmon, man, I mean, I don't know about you. I was so impressed with what Derek Harmon did. Again, there are no pads on. It's hard to judge the big guys, but he batted a pass down. He looked good out here. Expected him to look good. Didn't expect him to look this good on day one.
I kind of did, to be quite honest. I've seen Derek Harmon, from the moment we drafted him with the first round pick in 2025, he has just seemed like an immediate starter on the defense. And I think that has just sort of continued. It was that way at OTAs, at rookie minicamp. And now it seems like he has come in and he is anything but a rookie in the way he goes about his business and the way that he performs on the field. I mean, I was incredibly impressed, like you were, Noah. And I think it was a little bit more in line with the expectations I have for him, which is to be an impactful and very good defensive lineman for the Steelers in year one. So, I mean, off to a great start, and let's just keep building. That's what I want to see next.
Yeah, I agree. And with again, and here's another name. Like you could go rookies and Derek Harmon and YE Black. Keanu Benton, man. Keanu Benton looks shredded. He looks like he's ready to go. He seemed fired up yesterday. And I mean, your mom was the one who put me on to Keanu Benton today, because she was like, dude, Keanu Benton looks like a stud. And I was like, you know what? Let's see if Keanu Benton looks like a stud. And he did. I thought he looked real good today at practice. The defensive line as a whole, I mean, the secondary you couldn't beat, but the defensive line, even Jack Sawyer, like they just look big and physical and nasty. And yeah, big expectations for that group.
For sure.
Poke Salad, a new addition here. What's up, AST fam? Newest member of the Garden here. What do we call the D if we really have 3 island DBs and the rest of the lineup is so strong? This is a great question. What do you call a defense? What do you like? Because the Legion of Boom is gone. What do you call a defense that's great in the set? Like Porter Island is great, but like that's only one guy. Oh, it's a good one. It's a good one.
I'm trying to think of chains of islands in the world. The only one I can think of is the Galapagos and like the Florida Keys. So I don't think we're getting anywhere with either of those. This is me throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, and both of those things just fell right down. But yeah, I mean, it's a great question. We need to get something a little bit more witty and creative than the sweaty, tired versions of Noah and myself can think of in this moment. But it's the question that lingers. That's for sure. Poke Salad.
Poke Salad for sure. Lock Island. I actually like this one a lot.
Nice tokes with the nice takes.
Nice tokes with the nice takes for sure. Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of Island of Chad, or the Three Rivers restricted airspace. Such good ones, guys. Such good ones. Shout out. We got some good ones. I love it. We got to come up with some good ones. Big Jello Salad. Jacob, you talked to 84 yet? Did you run into him today?
No, and I want to, I want to just say hi to him in like a very respectful way and just hope that he doesn't just fucking knock my head off, which he might. Sorry for the F word, but I am scared. But no, I didn't get a chance to see him today. I was really bummed. I said to Noah while we were in the middle of watching practice, I was like, I haven't seen Cordero anywhere. Like, is he even here today? So that's a bummer. I do genuinely want to see what the team's plan is for him, and if it involves him being some sort of piece of this offense. So, the sooner he's back, the better. And I'll take my licks if that's what I get.
I don't even know. Like, I think I have to run away when it happens. Like, I think I just have to walk in the opposite direction and just be like, what's up, guys? How's it going? Interstellar Reaper here. Did you guys hear George Pickens got hurt? I did not hear George Pickens to get hurt. Did you hear George Pickens got hurt?
No, I didn't. You think it was because he was running better routes? He's running those better routes and
better plays. Yeah, for sure.
Better plays. Yeah.
For sure. He let's see here. Let's see with the good news tab on. I don't think I did see George Pickens snatch his incredible one-handed touchdown at Dallas Cowboys practice. Yeah, that seems to happen all the time. I heard yesterday that I was at a dinner and we were talking about George Pickens, and I heard that he had a calf cramp, but that was it. So hopefully he's all good. If he did get hurt, that stinks. I don't want anybody to get hurt. And we'll get to Justin Fields here in a second, but yeah, don't want anybody to get hurt. But I do, man. Like, that's just too much time to think of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If he does get hurt, that's way too much time to sit around and think of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It would not be good for his mental health or for anybody else here. No chance. Sammy A, could Johnson or Rock Taylor really make wide receiver 2? No. There's actually like almost a 0% chance that either of these would happen. Brandon Johnson, I thought, looked good today. To be honest, we are one day into training camp and we are one day into not really even realizing Rock Taylor is on the field, which stinks because like I would love for Rock Taylor to be the guy that emerges as like the dude, but I'm also not going to like sit here and hype up a dude who isn't that good so that you guys just get your hopes let down when he doesn't make the team. That's not fair. So Brandon Johnson, I thought, had a pretty decent day. Didn't do anything crazy, but caught a couple of passes, looks good, looks big. Rock Taylor to me didn't do almost anything, not noteworthy. Caught one pass, and I thought it was a good pass, but I don't think he's got a shot at wide receiver. I think it's very unlikely he makes the team, let alone make his way towards wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I think the question is, could Brandon Johnson or Rock Taylor make the 53-man roster? And even still, I think the answer right now is no. I did also have the same note on Brandon Johnson today. I thought he looked really long, really athletic. He made some nice catches in individual drills, didn't continue on into the 11-on-11 period. But I mean, this is the time to kind of turn heads a little bit too. So, I was very happy with what I saw from Brandon Johnson. Rock Taylor, I look for him every time I can because I want him to be a very, very good wide receiver. And I think the physicality and the tools and all of that stuff, it should amount to a very special wide receiver. And I think maybe it's in there somewhere and it just will take more time to develop. But the Steelers don't have the opportunity or the time to wait and see if that actually comes to fruition. It's not happening right now on July 24th as training camp is finishing its first day. It's got to happen in the next week or so, or else he's just not going to be on the team at all.
Yeah, I agree. And look at again, Brandon Johnson. Oh, the lights are going off. Good. You got to walk down here. If you walk, they turn back on. This is an everyday occasion here at good old Latrobe. Look at that. The lights we're back like we never left. Like we never left this place, man. I don't know why their timers are on 45-minute intervals. Like, what are we doing here? Come on, got to be longer than that. If you gave us another 15, we'd be in great shape here. Great shape. All right, keeping it trucking here. I'm gonna screw up this name. Rex. I like that one. With the new NFL Protector of the Year award, I believe Zach Frazier will win one day, potentially one helmet Hall of Famer. Excited for this young offensive line, but worried about the depth and left tackle. Yeah, I agree with everything you say here. Both Zach Frazier and the concerns. I think the biggest concern the Pittsburgh Steelers have right now is offensive tackle. After watching today, I'm very concerned about the offensive tackle. Not Broderick, but more so Calvin Anderson and what's behind him. And Broderick's got to prove himself still. The Steelers are going to give him an opportunity, but he's got to prove himself still. Zach Frazier, man. Zach Frazier to me is a one helmet guy. The Steelers are going to do everything they can, make sure he stays in Pittsburgh forever. He's from West Virginia. He drove 45 minutes down the road to come play professional football. I don't think he ever wants to leave. I hope he doesn't. I think he's an absolute freaking stud. I also think Mason McCormick looks a lot better this year too, which is great to see. But yeah, I think Zach Frazier's got potential to one day be the best center in the NFL. That's how good I think Zach Frazier is. And yeah, one helmet guy, potential Hall of Famer. I think all that's on the table. It's way too early. You can't call a second-year guy a Hall of Famer, but I think he's got potential to be really, really good in the NFL. Really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I was shocked at. I didn't even really recognize Zach Frazier when he was coming off the field today. Like, he looks so much more like he kind of looked like a little, for being a large man, an offensive lineman. He had a bit of a baby face coming into the NFL last year, but there was something just like more mature. He looked older, it looked like a totally different football player, all in a good way. And it was just I had to, for a second, I was like, oh my gosh, that's Zach Frazier. Hey man. And he looks like he is ready to be an anchor for the Steelers offensive line. And that's exactly what they need. I do also agree with this. I think he could be a one helmet guy. I see him on the, again, we'll call it an overreaction, but hell, whatever. He's on the Marquise Pouncey trajectory. I'm not sure he's there yet. He has a lot to prove in order to fully be there, but I do think he has all of everything that it takes to become the next great Steelers center in a long lineage of great Steelers centers.
Yeah, I look at. I agree with everything you just said. I agree with everything Rex just said. Like, I just have such high hopes for good old Zach Frazier, and he's such a great dude, man. Like, he's just a good leader, great teammate, such a good dude. Mike, I'm drowning in all the Kool-Aid that I am drinking right now. Can't wait for this season. Look at, and tell me if I'm overreacting here. Okay, give it to me straight. Watching today, Aaron Rodgers said that the Steelers are one of 10 to 12 teams that could compete for a Super Bowl. He said there are about 6 to 8 teams who are legitimate contenders. There are about 10 to 12 teams who are contenders. And he said we're in that 10 to 12 teams right now. I think how good the defense looked today, you put pads on and you show me the same thing, I think the Steelers might be in those 6 to 8. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm still an old school football guy, man. And defense wins championships, and the Steelers defense looked so freaking good today. And it was so refreshing to see how good it looked for the first time in a long time, to really be like, no, it looked crazy. Like, there was no denying how crazy it looked. And because of that, look at it again, you got to see it in pads. But if it's in pads, man, I might be sipping the Kool-Aid too. I really might be.
I have my straw in the Kool-Aid right now, just ready to sip on it, to be quite honest. I mean, it's hard not to right now. There's just so much excitement. There's so many reasons for optimism. The defense 100% is in that 6 to 8, teams that Aaron Rodgers said there. It's just hard for me to fully put them into that, upper echelon of Super Bowl contenders when we talked about the offensive line, being a concern still, and how much worse it looked without just one starter. And I think, that has to be remedied in some way, or there has to be some sort of reassurance when Siamalu comes back that, the soft tissue injury is behind him. He's 100% healthy. And if that's the case and everybody performs, then yeah, they are truly one of the 6 to 8 teams that can compete for a Super Bowl in 2025. But if that doesn't happen, if we're still going into week 1, like, is Siamalu still injured? Is he 100%? Who's going to be the left guard? Then I think we're in for a season of just basically going back and forth between contender to maybe they're going to miss the playoffs, contender, maybe they're going to miss the playoffs, and it's going to be dizzying.
Yeah, and a lot of it depends on. Look, I just don't expect Aaron Rodgers to look as bad as he did today. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I see things coming. I still see things coming. How about pokes out? How about Steely Dam and the 3 Island Boys? So good. Here's my only pushback is you can't call them the Island Boys. You can't. That's just, at this point, that's an insult to anybody who has that nickname. You can't do it. They wouldn't want it, and it would be rough. But this is a good one. This is definitely a good one. This is definitely a good one. There's some good ones, man. They really are. There really are some good ones out here. Steely Dam is a good one. Like, the Steely Dam t-shirt would slap. The 3 Island Boys, we can't do that. You can't. That's just insulting. If you don't know who the Island Boys are, Google them. You won't enjoy your time Googling them, but just Google them, and just see what it comes up with. Street corn mayo and paprika, Lil Chard. Guys, I can't tell you how much I love you all. Like, this is so awesome. How much I love you all. This is fantastic. It's a shout out. Thank you. Please call in. Please. I would love more than anything for the entire picnic pack to call one day for the call-in show. Like, if a call-in show just back to back to back to back to back to back questions was all just the picnic pack, I would personally lose it. Like, I would I wouldn't be able to hold it together. You know what I mean? You might get me teary-eyed. So shout out to you guys. Shout out. Call into the call-in show. You guys are so freaking awesome. Dougie Fresh all happened today. Fields injured, GP injured. Dante Johnson left practice early too. Devin Bush arranged for alleged assault. Artie Burns blows out his ACL. Yeah, this is all within the last 24 hours. This sucks. Artie Burns, man, brutal. Hated to see that. Bush, I saw trying not to get involved. Deontay Johnson, I didn't see. That's a bummer too, though. George Pickens, bummer. Hate to see anybody get injured, but you know, it's just kind of feels like it's going to lead to a lot of Steelers tweets. Fields, man, Fields sucked. Fields sucked. Like, I hope that it's good. He's expected to be back for week 1, which is awesome. Looks like they said it's a dislocated toe, got stepped on, which makes it so much grosser that somebody stepped on him and then he just kind of like ripped the toe out of socket. That's nasty. A mobile quarterback, though, that's way worse than if Aaron Rodgers dislocates a toe. You know, it's a brutal one to suffer for Justin Fields. Hate to see it. Hope he's back. Hope he's good. Justin was a good guy to me when he was here. I always appreciated him. So I hope things are good. Yeah, man, hate to see it. And then on top of all of it, man, rest in peace to the legend himself, Hulk Hogan. That was a brutal way to start the day, dude. What a rough day. What a rough day. What a rough day.
Tough one. My wife did ask me, and listen, Hulk Hogan was an awful human being, but I'm very sad. He was the WWE isn't the same without him. You know, he was one of the most impactful players. Outside of the ring, not a nice guy. Didn't say nice things, but that's not what we're here for. I got to speak my truth here, Noah. You know, I only get so many opportunities.
It's true. It's true. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
What a wild day, man. What a wild day. Nate Moore here. First question. How many gallons of sweat did we lose today? Noah and Jacob? Probably about 100 gallons of sweat. It was about 90 degrees out all day, and it was not slow. You know that you sweat a lot. You know that it was a bad day when you didn't go to the gym yet, and like my shoulders are hurting. You know what I mean? I'm like, I just got no liquid in me. You know what I mean? This is just straight bone and muscle going on here. It's not a fresh one, or it's not a good one, but yeah, quite a bit. Maddie, does taking reps away from Rodgers and giving them to Will a way to see how Will does? Is it with the first team? Is it with the 2s or the 3s? How did Calvin look? We went over Calvin. I don't know. Calvin Austin, I don't even know if he caught like a meaningful pass today. But again, I don't think like DK didn't catch a meaningful pass today. And Pat Freiermuth didn't catch a meaningful pass today. I just didn't think the offense caught meaningful passes because the defense looks so freaking good. And they're going to have to figure it out. Let's not hold back on that one. They're going to have to figure it out. Will was running with the 4th string for most of the day, bumped up to the 3rd string by the end of the day, which I thought was, that was good. It was good to get him those reps, but didn't go any further than the 3rd. Don't expect him to go any further than the 3rd for right now. Maybe at some point he'll take some 2nd string reps. But that's about it. Won't touch the field on first team. It's not going to happen. It's not realistic. Aaron Rodgers is the guy. The Mason Rudolph also looked pretty okay. So, I have a hard time there, but Will was good. He spoke a lot with Arthur Smith and Tom Arth on the side. I was watching him all day. I thought it was a good first day for Will Howard. I think the only quarterback that Aaron Rodgers didn't look great, but of the other 3, the only quarterback that didn't look good was Skylar Thompson. I thought the other 2 looked totally fine, and I thought Aaron Rodgers looked pretty okay too. Our Mason Rudolph looked pretty impressive at times.
Yeah, I thought Mason looked great. I think he's settling into the number 2 role, I think, very nicely. And I think he's going to be a very good counterpart to Aaron Rodgers. And I think now that we're in training camp, we're going to start seeing I hate to say, like, the reality of what Will Howard's situation is in Pittsburgh. And they're going to give him, 3rd string reps. He's going to get some extra ones maybe in the preseason games. We're going to see more of him, but they are happy with giving him 3rd string reps, and they are happy with seeing the progress that provides. And while you have Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers in front of him, there's just no more opportunities to give him right now. So he's going to have to watch. He's going to have to make the most out of the opportunities he's given, and then we'll go from there. But I think in the limited 3rd string reps he was getting on day 1 of training camp, looked good for a 6th-round pick who's a rookie. So, eager to see how that keeps progressing. He might earn more reps, sure, but I expect to see him getting the 3rd most reps, or the 3rd least reps, or however you want to put it, for the duration of training camp in the preseason.
Yeah, I agree. I agree here. Keeping it trucking. We talked about Roman a little bit. How long did you hold your breath when Justin Fields went down earlier? Quite long, to be honest with you. Marlon's got another one. How were the snaps? I know that Zach Frazier had a few bad snaps and seen a video today, but don't want to make any assumptions of one bad one. I don't know what video was floating out there. Maybe I missed something, but there was one bad snap to Will Howard, I think it was. No, it was Skylar Thompson. And it wasn't Zach Frazier who snapped the football. It was Aiden something. I don't have my roster on me. But it wasn't Zach Frazier, unless there was another one. But I thought the snaps looked fine. I'm pretty sure the snaps last season were a lot of Justin Fields. But I thought did I miss something? Did you see something on a bad snap?
No, I was gonna say I didn't see it either. We're not allowed to take like recordings during like team sessions or something. So maybe a fan caught something.
Yeah, they probably did.
But yeah, I didn't see that. I think it's something to keep in the back of your head for Zach Frazier. There's very few improvements that the Steelers are trying to see him make, aside from just being the anchor at the center position. And I think making sure those exchanges with the quarterback and keeping them as crisp as possible is it falls under his purview. And I do think Justin Fields was a big part of the issue last year. I think they just had trouble getting on the same page with their snap count and with the exchange, but I don't foresee that being as big of a problem because Aaron Rodgers is just a totally different animal and beast to work with than Justin Fields. So not too worried about it. I didn't see that either. If it happened, I'm not really worried about it just yet.
No, me neither. Zach Frazier is such a stud, man. I think he's going to be just fine. But I think I know the video you're talking about, Marlon, and I don't think it was Zach Frazier. Godzilla 999, how are the rookies doing? Sorry, this is we don't care, man. Bring it all on. And this is a family show unless Jacob's dropping the F-bomb every now and then, but that's okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
The rookies, I thought Caleb Johnson looked so good. I thought Derek Harmon looked so good. I thought Dante Kent looked pretty good today, even though he was my defensive loser, I guess. Who else? I didn't see much of Y Black. I thought Jack Sawyer looked pretty good. And I thought Will Howard looked okay. Nobody was anything special outside of Caleb Johnson and Derek Harmon. But I mean, for a rookie class, I thought they were fine. I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, no issues at all. I think they're there. And it's just nice, I don't want to put too much on them too quickly. I know besides Derek Carmen, who I do have just like sky high expectations for that maybe aren't realistic. But for the rest of the rookie class, I just want to take them at face value and not assign too many predictions, not put too much pressure on them to be players that they probably aren't going to be quite yet. It is, after all, their first training camp, their first season in the league. So I'm trying to give them a little bit of grace here. But all in all, looked fine.
I agree. Big Jello hot dog salad here. A little fun one. What if we drafted Marino instead of T. Martin? We drafted Tom Brady. How many Super Bowls do we win? 13, maybe. Just to be honest, you win a couple with Marino, no questions asked. You win a couple Marino. I don't know if Tom Brady works out the same way. I don't know. I would imagine Tom Brady and Bill Belichick worked hand in hand. I really would, but I mean, I'd have to imagine that if you had Tom Brady and not Ben, Tom Brady beat Ben a couple of times. So, but does Ben go to New England? Do we just go an alternate universe here? I don't know, but I think it'd be a lot, man. I think it'd be quite a bit of Super Bowls.
I mean, yeah, it's if Tom Brady is the pick instead of T. Martin. Wow, what a way to put that big Jello hot dog salad. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think there easily would have been 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls in that same amount of time that Tom Brady accomplished that with the New England Patriots. I said this before, but I don't think Dan Marino coming to Pittsburgh would have been the best thing but from all accounts of what he was up to in the 80s and stuff like that, he needed to not be in his hometown for a little bit. And so I'm not 100% sold on the fact that just because he would have come to the Steelers, his hometown team, he would have had more success. Maybe he would have, but I think, Danny boy needed to go down to good old Miami to get the career started.
Which turned into a good career. That was a good one for sure. David Caruso. When do pads go on? Tuesday is the first day of pads for anybody who's looking to show up at St. Vincent College. Once again, any plays by Cole Holcomb. Didn't see much of Cole Holcomb. I mean, he played quite a bit, was running with the second team with Malik Harrison. I didn't really like stand out. It wasn't bad by no means, but I mean, I thought Cole Holcomb looked fine. Just didn't like make it like Peyton Wilson made some plays. Patrick Queen made some plays. Cole was just there, but I don't think Cole looked bad by no means.
No, I think the plan with Cole is to just kind of slowly reintegrate him back into more responsibilities with the defense. Peyton Wilson is obviously come in with a chip on his shoulder. He said today that he considers himself to be one of the better cover linebackers in the NFL. He clearly has something to prove going into the 2025 season. Patrick Queen sees huge things in him as well. But yeah, I think Cole Holcomb, meanwhile, is just sort of slowly getting back up to speed. He's healthy, he's got a clean bill of health, but being away from the game for a year and a half, 2 years, getting back up to game speed and getting your reflexes and all of your instincts back into the way that it was, pre-injury, that's a long time. That's a very long road. So I think the Steelers are being very, very cautious with him as he gets to that point. But he looks fine. He looks healthy. He looks lateral movements are good. Knee looks great. So, all positive for Cole Holcomb right now.
I agree. Pittsburgh Hornets. Do you think Mason had a better day than Aaron Rodgers? I do, but I also think that Mason was playing the second string defense when the second string defense is nowhere near the first string. So like I hear the question. I don't think you meant it in that way. I think you understood the context of it when you asked it. But yeah, the answer is yes, but like not in a like, oh, Mason had a better day than Aaron. It was like, yeah. Would have loved to see Mason go up against this defense, and then we could have judged, because I don't think it's not like remotely close. The defense is just crazy. Like it's so crazy how good they looked today.
Yeah, Mason should, for the most part, outplay Aaron Rodgers on a day-to-day basis in terms of like training camp, because Aaron Rodgers is just, iron sharpening iron against this incredibly elite defense. And while the backups are even very good in Pittsburgh and the depth is a huge piece of this defense's success in 2025, Mason's a much better quarterback than a second team defense can play against him.
Keep it trucking here. How did Sebastian Castro look? I thought Sebastian Castro actually made a couple of plays. Like I thought he looked pretty good out there. I thought him and Dante Kent really shined as like the late round undrafted guys who stood out. Sebastian Castro also got yelled at during a play. Don't know what happened there. Not gonna take a guess either. But I thought Sebastian Castro actually looked pretty okay today on day one.
Yeah, I did notice that he got a little talking to, not sure about what, but I mean, hey, he's an undrafted rookie coming in. He obviously wants to make an impression, part of the growth, part of the journey for him might be, minimizing some of those mistakes or doing whatever, there's a long road for him here, but I think he does look really impressive, especially for being an undrafted free agent coming into this roster. I'm not, nothing stood out about day one that makes me think, oh yeah, he's definitely part of that 53-man roster. Nothing he did makes me think, oh yeah, he's getting cut for sure too. I think he is a solid player, and I think they need to see more of him before they really feel like they have a strong evaluation of him.
I agree. I definitely agree there. Pittsburgh Hornets, Noah, how was your mini darkness retreat? It was good, dude. Jacob was running around. I wish you guys could have saw him on the peripheral vision here, just sprinting down the side and then sprinting back to make sure he got back to his seat quick enough. It was a good time. It was a good time. Shout out our boy Jacob. Broderick Jones. Is Cam Johnston booming punts? I will say the defense was the most electric part of the day. Second most electric part was Cam Johnston versus Corliss Waitman booming punts. There is nothing that gets me more fired up than a punting competition, man. You could say kicking competition. I do not care about it. Punting competition is awesome. Corliss and Cam both booming punts. They looked great. I'm excited for them. Anybody who's at practice, keep your eyes on the Danny Smith hour because it's fun, dude. It was a good time today, booming those punts.
It is. I truly did not expect to go into the first day of training camp, and one of the biggest things I said to you to be, is there a competition for punter in the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. But I mean, it was just so impressive. It was one of the most fascinating and captivating parts of the opening day festivities, if you will. Cam Johnson was indeed booming punts. Corliss Waitman looked like an all-pro punter as well, and it was just honestly incredibly entertaining. And like, we've not talked about special teams. You know, Chris Boswell, we don't even have to talk about because he's just an automatic, best kicker in football. The punting is going to be just as important too. And I thought Corliss Waitman was solid last year, but he's really getting pushed here already by Cam Johnson. So I'm interested to see how this goes the rest of camp and preseason.
Yeah, for sure. I love a good punting battle. Love it. Maddie, any changes to the play calling? It's too early to know if the play calling changed itself, but the formations changed for sure. Calvin Austin did a lot of movement today. Roman Wilson did a lot of movement today. A lot of tight end play. Didn't have Jonnu Smith, so I think it was good. But yeah, I think overall, you saw a different offense out there. You saw it in minicamp and OTAs, but you really saw it defined today, and I thought it was pretty good. We'll see more as it's coming, but yes, the answer right now is yes. How did Troy Fautanu look coming back from injury? And then there are a lot of questions about Broderick Jones as well. Your evaluation on the tackles today.
Look, they were fine. It wasn't anything, it wasn't the biggest stories of the day. I touched on Broderick a little bit earlier. It wasn't that he had a bad day or, lost a lot of reps against, TJ or Alex Highsmith or Nick Herbig or Jack Sawyer, whoever. He looked fine. It just wasn't, anything that caught your eye in any sort of overwhelmingly positive way. Troy Fautanu, he looks good. The same as Broderick Jones. There's not a ton to report on in terms of any big plays or big moments from him in the first day of training camp. But I think for Troy, a little bit more so than Broderick, that lack of news is a good thing for him. I think really, there was so much hype. There was so much excitement coming into his rookie year. It ends in this really dramatic fashion with an injury. Now he's coming back to essentially redo his rookie year, but also be the starting right tackle like he's a seasoned veteran. And I think the less sort of fanfare, the less glamour and attraction he's getting, probably the better. I think if he can fly under the radar into the season and just become a really steady, solid right tackle, it's going to be for his benefit and the Steelers. So I like what I saw enough, but it's really a big question mark still.
Yeah, and we're going to finish it off with good old Nate Moore here. Start bench cut, George Pickens attitude, Cleveland Browns organizational management / falling into Rivers, Steelers new uniforms. I'm starting with the uniforms. Bad uniforms or whatever, dude. You're still playing a football game. It's fine. You got a good quarterback. It's whatever. There's a lot of good things that you could overlook in bad uniforms. I'm benching Pickens' attitude because it's still a phenomenal player at the end of the day. And the Browns can't even do a helmet release right, okay? And at the end of the day, that plays a role here, and you got to look into it. So that's my start bench cut on these three bad boys right here.
Agreed 100%. I'm pretty sure that they, the Cleveland Browns murdered a man during their helmet reveal, that guy who fell into the water. No, he was fine. Jet ski got him immediately. I'm not saying that at all. But that was the funniest video I think I've seen in a couple of weeks. Seeing that guy have no idea where he was on the float and then just fall into the water in the Cleveland River was just incredible. They are getting cut. The Cleveland Browns are the most poorly run franchise in the NFL. Whatever. I don't care if you don't like it.
No.
Send this over to Myles Garrett, see what he thinks.
He's gonna be pissed. He's gonna be pissed.
Oh man, another professional football player is gonna beat me up. Add him to the list. You got to bench George Pickens because maybe he can still catch some touchdowns. And Steelers new uniforms, the beige pants are atrocious. I do not like them. I like them less and less every day. But I like the tops and I like the helmets. So fair enough.
The helmets are good. The helmets are good. And then we'll finish it off with Big Jello hot dog salad. Could Loudermilk have the same career path as Brett Kiesel? Also, I think we should trade for a young tackle who just needs a change of scenery. I think it's too early to trade for a tackle. Like, people are giving up on Broderick Jones too early. You got to give him a shot during training camp and see what's up. If he stinks, okay, yeah, you make a move. But you've also invested in this guy. He's got a lot of upside. He just hasn't put it on the field. I'm curious to see if he could take a step forward. I don't think Loudermilk has the same career path as Brett Kiesel. Like, I think Loudermilk's a backup and a pretty good backup in Pittsburgh, and that's fine. But I think the Steelers have already replaced him with Derek Harmon. And while I think he remains a backup, I don't think he surpasses a backup because you have Cam, he'll get replaced by Keanu Benton. Y.E. Black will go into the nickel or the nose in a year or two or whatever, and then Derek Harmon's still on the outside. But I just view them as that's how things will go moving forward.
Yeah, I feel bad because I like Isaiah Loudermilk, and I know he just got married this summer, which is incredible. But like, I just don't. I think he's really reaching the end of his rope. I named him as a cut candidate for that reason. I think there's just so much depth in front of him, and I'm not sure where he fits and what trait skill set he brings that really will stick out enough to keep him around on the 53-man roster this year. So I'm a little bullish on that statement. I would be for getting, again, I think offensive line to me is becoming more of an issue, and the injury question is becoming more of a concern for me. And so I think fortifying that, adding some depth might help. I'm not looking for a starter to come in and replace Project Jones or a starter to come in and replace Troy Fautanu in 2025. But if you think you can get someone who might be an upgrade over a Calvin Anderson, who might be able to give you more versatility, then sure. I mean, the Steelers are all in already. Fortifying the line would be another step in that direction. So I'd be okay with it. It just has to be, it can't be that all-in move like they've been doing.
I agree. Big Jello salad here. Not to start, just to play swing. Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see him here for a long time, being that backup. And I think the Steelers like him quite a bit. All right, guys. With that said, we're heading out of here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk live from St. Vincent College here in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, find all of our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. We will be back tomorrow at that 5 o'clock slot live from training camp. Until then, enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg. Peace.